This is the demonstration of your FUT linear scar. Again, the result vary from one individual to another, and I perform both the FUE and FUT scar, and to educate the audience, I try to show as many FUT and FUE scar as much as we can. And again, the result can be vary from one individual to another, but this is one demonstration of the FUT linear scar, or strip method, or they call FUSS, but it's basically strip harvesting technique where we cut out a strip and suture you up. I perform both FUE and FUT. There's always pro and con for both, and there's no one technique are perfect, but the FUE is more popular nowadays because the scar is less. But the FUT has its place. So the FUT, or the strip linear scar, is the downside. The linear scar is a little bit more invasive than the strip method. Again, but it's still, it itself is minimally invasive. That's why you do outpatient and go home. You heal fast too. It's only 2 days longer, and you know, it's a little bit more painful during the recovery. But those are the downside of the FUT or the strip method. But the benefit of the strip method are, number one, it's cheaper. It's a lot cheaper. Number two, the benefit of the strip method is not just cheaper, but it's you can move a larger number of grafts per day. You can do like 4,000 to 6,000 grafts per day, and it's highly recommended for advanced hair loss. As compared to the FUE, we can only harvest around 25 to 3,000 grafts. The growth rate of the strip method actually is better than the FUE. It's around 10 to 5 to 10% better density. On the other hand, the FUE is less invasive, less bleeding, less chance of infection, less painful. But the downside of the FUE is the cost is more expensive. The number of grafts we can do is less. We do 25 to 3,000 grafts, so it's more for mild to moderate hair loss. Although we can do on advanced hair loss, but you're going to need multiple sessions, sometimes 2, 3, or 4 sessions with the FUE. Where the strip method, you can do 1 or 2. The other downside of the FUE is not just the growth rate. Now you're going to have excellent growth rate with FUE and FUT, but you compare my FUE to my FUT, is 5 to 10% less density, but 5% is not much of a difference. But if you compare my FUE to my FUT, it is 5 to 10% less. But if you compare my FUE to a lot of other clinics that does strip or FUE, my FUE is still better than both techniques out there. And again, the hair transplant really is not just the technique, the type of harvesting. It's really mostly dependent on the surgeon, surgical skill of the surgeon in the clinic. So this is the demonstration of the FUT strip linear scar, and you can see it's very hard to see, but it's there. Thank you.